And welcome
to Nightmare Nation,
a podcast where we talk about scary things and haunted places around the world.
And demons.
And cults.
And seances.
And possessions.
And UFOs.
Yep, UFOs, we've done that twice now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because they're super cool.
Super interesting.
Uh-huh.
And unexplained. Basically anything paranormal, unexplained, or creepy, or possibly true crime related.
We're just here to cover it for you because I know you are interested. We are very interested. So we need to gather all of this interest into one thing, and that's what we spew out to you during these episodes.
I particularly like your word choice of spew.
Thank you.
That's pretty much what we do is just word vomit for an hour.
You're welcome.
You know, worlds collide.
They do.
We've got interested people who love horrible things, and we love horrible things, and we just want to bring it together.
Exactly.
To all love horrible things together.
We just love all of it, and scary things, and paranormal, and, you know, it just makes us happy.
It makes the world go round is what it does. It does. It makes my world go round.
Yes. Because
I don't know why that just popped in my head, but it did.
It's okay.
Yeah.
It's what our life is. Mm-hmm. It's just singing, scariness, and that's all I got.
Yep. Wow, it's kind of sad. Those are the only two things in our lives that we do.
No, there's more. We like adventures.
Yeah.
We like hiking and being outdoors.
Like hiking.
We love video games. Video games, board
games. I love video games.
I know you love video games. I'm terrible at them.
You were about to say that, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Anna, that's a lie.
I forgot to tell you. We went to Glensheen Mansion this weekend.
What the fuck?
We weren't out there. Oh.
That's like a big secret you're keeping from me,
woman. Especially since we did it in our Minnesota twofer.
Yeah. The fuck?
The inside wasn't open, but we walked around the grounds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why wasn't? Oh, COVID. Stupid COVID.
Stupid. COVID.
Did you see any ghosts? Did you look up in the windows and see any ghost apparitions?
I was looking for the ghost in the window, but I did not see her.
What a bitch.
Yep. It was lovely from the outside, though. I mean, the grounds were very stunning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I went to Glensheen Mansion.
Well, fine.
And I did.
Tell me now, like, 3 days later.
I know,
actually, you were just there, like, yesterday, so it's fine.
Friday.
What?
What were we talking about?
I don't remember.
Oh, we were talking about
you were about to say something that was going to disappoint me.
You know what?
Annie,
you know what? I thought of that because you were talking about hiking, and we went hiking this weekend, and then I went, and I was like, oh yeah, and while we were up north hiking, we went to Glensheen. So that was episode, 15, 14?
I don't even remember.
It's called a Minnesota twofer.
Minnesota twofer, go check it out if you haven't listened.
So tonight, we are continuing part 2 of our cult special. So if you guys missed the last one, Anna talked about the People's Temple.
The People's Temple, stupid.
It was amazing.
Jim Jones.
Stupid Jim Jones.
Yeah, get your shit together, guy.
And I'm Annie, and I'm going to be talking about a different cult tonight in tonight's episode. And I'm so excited.
I semi-know about this cult, but not really a lot.
Yeah, so
actually.
I feel like I had heard of them, but I didn't know anything about them until I started researching. I just kind of picked it because I was scrolling through, like, trying to find one, and I was like, this sounds like the perfect combination of shit that we care about and shit that we talk about in our podcast.
Oh, good.
And I'm so excited.
Yay!
So
I'm so excited to hear about this. I feel like it's just going to be new things for me.
Get ready for a roller coaster.
I got my seatbelt on and I'm safetied in.
Well, and what's fun about this one too, some of it's just I'm safetied in. Good. I'm glad. I don't want you to go flying out the window.
I know you
from
don't.
excitement. Keep your clothes on, okay?
Sorry if I break your window.
So this one's fun because it's just so bizarre, like truly just a head scratcher sometimes, and I just can't wait. So
I'm so excited.
So my sources were Wikipedia, RollingStone.com, and History.com. Okay, are you ready?
Tell me all about this cult.
So it's March 26th, 1997.
Well, you're not going to tell me what it is.
Well, no, you're going to find out real quick.
I already know what it is.
Well, yeah, you're going to find out. I'm doing a dramatic intro.
Ooh, dramatic intro for the listeners.
Yeah.
Sorry I wasn't this fancy.
Oh, it's okay. I just felt like I needed to add some sort of, like, storytelling flair to my story.
Let's do it.
Okay, so March 26th, 1997.
Oh, that's 2 days after my birthday.
I know.
Oh,
and
not 1977,
5 years.
though.
Yeah. You're such a baby.
Such a baby.
No, but yes. Yeah, so
okay, sorry.
March 24th.
Please,
That's okay.
Please
it's,
go on.
It's March 26th, 1979. Oh my God. 1997. Fuck
Almost.
This date. I'm done saying this date. It's 1997. The San Diego County Sheriff's Department receives an anonymous tip. So the caller suggests that they check on the welfare of the residents at a mansion in Rancho Santa Fe. So they don't...
I think I watched a movie on this one.
Really?
I think.
I want to find it and watch it.
I'm fairly certain.
Okay. So they get this anonymous call. They vaguely suggest that you should maybe go check on the people who live there. They don't really divulge anything else. The police show up, where they discover 39 victims of a mass suicide. 21 women and 18 men were found in matching dark clothes and Nike sneakers.
Oh.
None of them had any signs of trauma or blood, which is what led them to believe it was a suicide. It was later discovered that the victims were members of one of the most infamous cults of all time, Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate!
There it is.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Here it is.
Just before the group's mass suicide, their website was updated with this message. Hale-Bopp brings closure to Heaven's Gate. Our 22 years of classroom here on planet Earth is finally coming to its conclusion. Graduation from the human evolutionary level. We are happily prepared to leave this world and go with T's crew.
Oh, God.
Super...
That's so uncomfortable.
Vague and mysterious and uncomfortable.
Oh, I don't like that at all.
I will explain
That's
all of it
so
in a moment.
ominous.
It's very ominous. The man responsible for the deaths of those 39 victims was Marshall Applewhite and his co-leader Bonnie Nettles, who founded the cult together in 1974. So, Marshall Applewhite. He was born in Spur, Texas in 1931 and was the son of a minister and grew up a really religious child. So, again, typical with all the haunted people, haunted places.
Haunted people.
And haunted people.
Yes.
A lot of them grow up very religious. So he got a bachelor's degree in philosophy from Austin College and then enrolled at Union Presbyterian Seminary to study theology, hoping to also become a minister like his father. So he's, at a young age, already very into these, like, super religious conversations and topics. He studies philosophy in school and then decides he wants to go to seminary school. So very much into kind of the world of the unknown and is into it from a young age. So around the same time he enrolls in seminary school, he meets and marries a woman named Ann Pierce, with whom he later had 2 children, Mark and Lane. So he ultimately quits school, and he decides to become a professional singer.
Oh?
Take a left turn
just,
here.
like, freaking go take a 180 and go down a completely different fucking path.
Yeah, so
Jeez.
What's super interesting is he was very much known for his musical talents and was said to be a very talented public speaker, which, of course, we're not surprised to hear because that's very common with cult leaders and people of this type. They always tend to be very well-spoken.
Yeah.
And he apparently even tried to make it as an actor in New York in the 60s.
So weird.
He likes being the center of attention is what that tells me.
Yeah.
He likes being in the spotlight. He's well-spoken. He's talented and outgoing, and people find him charismatic.
Yep.
So none of these worked out, needless to say. But he becomes a choir teacher and ultimately ended up as chair of music department at the University of St. Thomas. So he's obviously, like, very talented and has a lot of musical ability, which I just found to be super, super interesting.
So weird.
Can you imagine being like, dude, my choir teacher started a cult?
Right?
Like,
that'd be so cool.
that would be so
That'd
crazy.
be like Miss Sorensen starting a cult.
Oh my god, I know. Oh my god, I would join her cult in a heartbeat.
So funny.
So I just thought that was super fascinating that he had this kind of, like, weird double life for a time where he was, like, wanting to make it big as an actor and musician. So, in 1970, Marshall leaves the university due to emotional turmoil.
Oh,
Not
so
super
sad.
clear what caused it.
Huh.
But a year after that, his father dies, which sends him into a very deep depression. So it's kind of, he leaves the school because, I'm assuming because he's either angry or depressed, and then his father dies, and that compounds, and he gets uber depressed.
Uber depressed.
I was trying to say super, and it came out uber. I don't know what happened. And it was sometime during this period in 1972 when he meets a nurse named Bonnie Nettles.
Bonnie Nettles.
Bonnie. So,
Stupid Bonnie.
yeah, so she's really interesting. So Bonnie was born and raised in Houston to a Baptist family in 1927. So she becomes a registered nurse and marries a man named Joseph Siegel Nettles in 1949, and together they have 4 children. Mm-hmm. In 1972, her marriage becomes unstable because Bonnie became convinced that a 19th century monk named Brother Francis was appearing to her and giving her instructions.
Oh my...
So her husband's like, what the fuck? That is very
She done
strange.
gone crazy.
She probably needed to go get some help.
Yeah, most likely.
And she also started conducting seances with mediums in order to contact other deceased spirits.
Okay.
And started doing this every Wednesday.
Dude.
Like goddamn poker club. Like, instead of like ladies'
Let's
night,
let's have our weekly seances to contact monks to see where is my next thing.
Hey, want to go out for dinner on Wednesday? Oh, sorry, it's my seance night. I can't do it.
Yeah, so weird.
So I can only assume her husband is like,
I'm not following this.
This is taking a turn into crazy town,
Yep.
and I don't like it.
Yep.
So she also went to see a fortune teller who told her that she was soon to meet a mysterious man who was tall with light hair and a fair complexion. So pretty much 50% of the men in the United States. So not really all that descriptive. So how Marshall and Bonnie meet is unclear. No one knows exactly where they met for the first time, but they become close friends very fast and spend a lot of time discussing mysticism. So I can only imagine with his very religious and philosophical upbringing combined with her idea that she's getting visions and instructions from deceased monks, like they probably were like match made in heaven.
Oh gosh, yeah.
And
got the 2 crazies together. You're gonna make a full crazy cult.
Put 2 halves of crazy together and you get one mega crazy.
Yeah, mega crazy.
Yes. Well,
I love that.
I mean, they're probably feeding each other's like delusions, right? Like,
absolutely.
You meet someone else who's like, "Oh, I totally understand, and I've had a similar experience," and they just like build it up together.
I mean, that's what we're doing. We're building up our love for all things scary, paranormal, and weird.
No, are you telling me we're crazy and we're gonna start a?
We already have our cult.
Oh, yeah.
It's our mixologist
The
cult,
mixology cult. Check out our last episode if you want to learn more about the new cult we're starting. It's going to be great.
It's going to be the coolest cult ever.
You won't be forced to stay. It's a good cult. It's
you can
a nice
come and
cult.
go as you please, and we just drink alcohol all the time.
We just like cocktails.
It's perfect.
Yes.
Fancy cocktails.
Fancy ones.
None of that shitty Kharkov.
Don't give me that stupid rum and coke in our mixology cult.
We give you some real lemon juice, some real lime juice, homemade simple syrup.
Freshly squeezed. All organic, fancy-ass ingredients.
Probs not organic because that's expensive.
It is expensive. Cost-effective, fresh ingredients.
Yes, exactly.
Only allowed.
Delicious.
So if you like fake lime juice crap from concentrate, get
out
of our
that
cult.
Shit.
Get out of here.
Makes inferior drinks.
Yes. We are about superior drinks.
Yes, we are.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyway, so Marshall and Bonnie meet, quickly become friends, spend a lot of time discussing kind of crazy mysticism stuff. And Marshall later said that he even felt like he had known Bonnie for a long time and thought that they had met in a past life.
Did Bonnie figure him out in a dream? Did she like vision
him?
Yeah.
She visioned him real good.
In a dream?
Actually, yes.
Oh, it's like I'm psychic.
You are psychic. Did you have a vision about this cult?
I had such a vision about this cult.
Let's talk about mysticism.
Specific conversation.
Did you foresee our meeting?
I foresaw
when you were
it
an
so
infant?
hard.
Yep. Mm-hmm. You saw this podcast before we even started it.
Okay. We've already had this conversation.
Even though it was my idea.
No, we were reincarnated. Remember?
Oh,
I was reincarnated to make this podcast.
Right.
Because of
Annalise McKell's mom.
Yes.
Right? Her mom. Yep.
Yep. Because she's named Anna.
You got it. Right. That's definitely what happened. We are clinically insane. Okay, so Bonnie told Marshall that their meeting had been foretold to her by extraterrestrials.
Oh, sweet baby Jesus. We are going to frickin'...
Don't even just wait. It gets worse. So aliens told her that she was going to meet him, even though a fortune teller told her that she was going to meet him.
Right.
But apparently it was aliens.
But obviously aliens are coming down from space to tell you this.
Yes. So the fortune teller was probably an alien. And this convinced Marshall that his life had a divine purpose, and he was on Earth for a divine purpose.
Oh, sweet baby
because
Jesus.
The aliens told Bonnie that they would meet, and it was all a giant sign.
There's just so much crazy in one. I
So there's a reason this cult doesn't have as many followers as the People's Temple. Right. Because most people are like,
it's fucking weird.
It's weird.
Like, I have so many thoughts in my head, I don't know how to put them into words now.
I know, it's a lot to take in, and it only continues to get more messed up.
So weird.
And so I was like, I spend hours reading about this.
So many weird people.
It's crazy.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay.
Keep going.
So they essentially decide together that they were divine messengers and they were meant to spread their ideas to the world. So you can only imagine how well that worked out.
Can we become divine messengers and spread things to the world?
Anna, don't tell the listeners. That's what this podcast is.
Shoot. We're silently putting in hidden messages.
Yes, and brainwashing you with our podcast audio.
On that note.
So, to make matters worse, not too long after meeting, Marshall and Bonnie decide they're going to live together. So, their relationship is totally platonic. They're not sexually involved at all. But
because the aliens don't want them to have sex to procreate.
No. They don't want to have sex at all. And I'll get more into that in a minute. So their relationship is platonic, but needless to say, that probably put the final nail in the coffin on Bonnie's marriage, and they get divorced, and she lost custody of her children. And Marshall also cut off...
probably the best option.
Yeah, Marshall also cuts off ties to his family, which... You don't need to keep your children around that craziness.
No.
I would love to talk to Bonnie's ex-husband.
Oh, that'd be so great.
It'd be so fascinating. He's probably not alive.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Bonnie's husband, if you're alive, listening to our podcast, please call us.
Send us an email.
We want to hear from you.
Yeah, so they basically cut off all ties with their family and move in together. And they decide that they want to open a bookstore that almost exclusively sold books from a variety of spiritual backgrounds. They also opened a business called No Place, like no things, knowledge, no place, where they taught classes on mysticism and theosophy.
Theosophy?
Which I think is a smashing of like theology and philosophy.
Oh, what is mysticism?
Mysticism it's kind of hard to describe. I was actually like looking up the definition to try to explain it better. It's essentially like a study of all, like they call it like religious ecstasies. So like any sort of like magical or like fantastical elements of a religion, and like how you achieve them. Essentially the idea that you can like achieve this higher state of being, and it kind of applies differently to like different religions, but
gotcha.
Yes. So both businesses were unsuccessful.
Doesn't surprise me.
Yep. People didn't want to take classes at No Place.
No.
And they closed them shortly after opening. So it was then in 1973 that Marshall and Bonnie start traveling around the western and southwestern United States preaching their views. So they essentially...
Oh, good. So they get the western side and Jim Jones get the east. Oh, wait, no.
He also went to California,
didn't
he? Yeah,
he was in California.
Those West Coast people are crazy.
Just kidding.
You're good.
They are, because that's where Charles Manson is.
Yeah.
Too.
And a lot of serial killers.
Yes.
West Coast.
And haunted places.
Get it together.
I'm fucking done talking tonight.
Take a break.
Time
out.
Here we go.
You're on timeout.
You keep talking. I'm done.
Words are hard.
They are.
So they basically start traveling around the western and southwestern United States and had no money whatsoever, so because their businesses were unsuccessful. Good. And so they start selling their blood to earn money and working odd jobs.
I didn't know you could sell your blood.
Apparently. I don't know if they sold their plasma, or maybe blood went for a price back then.
Weird.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, yeah, they're desperate. They basically ate like bread rolls and like carbs for sustenance.
Delicious.
And they ended up camping a lot because they couldn't afford to stay anywhere. And if they did stay anywhere, like at a hotel, they usually left without paying. So they basically were destitute.
Sleep and drop.
Yep, basically. During this whole time, they got one convert, which was an old friend of theirs from Houston, and they converted her in May of 1974.
Oh, you are not very successful friends.
No.
Oh, jeez.
So by June of that same year, Marshall and Bonnie had finally put together a basic like outline of their religion, which pretty much resulted from all of their many philosophical and religious conversations that they had together. And during the time they were traveling around, they also read a ton of religious and science fiction texts, which kind of starts dabbling into like the alien UFO territory, which I'm sure they were heavily influenced by.
Oh, yeah.
So essentially they believed that they had been blessed with higher minds than regular people because they were put on earth to fulfill biblical prophecies. So this is all like rooted in the Bible.
Lord.
So they wrote pamphlets about how Jesus was reincarnated as a Texan. No, duh, because they're talking about Marshall. People, because Marshall was born in Texas, so of course they're going to say that Jesus was reincarnated as a dude from Texas.
Of course, and that's who he is now.
So specific, and why would you even know that? And they also claimed that they were the 2 witnesses written about in the Book of Revelations.
Okay.
So apparently the Book of Revelations has these, 2 witnesses who are going to, see things, and they claimed to be those 2 people from the Bible.
You guys, I have a secret to tell you.
Are you a witness?
I'm Jesus.
What?
Yes.
I am both witnesses in one body.
Yes.
So together we're, powerhouse.
Or, yeah. We will take over the world.
Yep. Literally, that's all it takes is I'm Jesus. And everyone's like, okay.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
I found the Virgin Mary on my piece of toast.
Therefore, I'm Jesus. Doesn't take much. So they also believed that they would be killed and then restored to life, like Jesus, and then be transported onto a spaceship in an event called the Demonstration.
Oh, God.
They also believed that aliens had visited Earth during ancient times and would return to contact and collect a chosen group of individuals, which of course they believed they were going to be the leaders of this group of people. So they went around and started preaching at other churches and religious events. I don't know if they set up a little booth at the religious convention or what.
Preach at a church that already has a priest or a preacher.
I'm not sure if they were guest speakers or if they just rented the church and preached off hours or something.
Okay.
Needless to say, these ideas were generally poorly received.
Yeah, so sounds about right.
Not having a lot of success at this point. So it's at this point that Bonnie and Marshall decide they need to contact extraterrestrials because they want them to get like-minded followers to help spread their beliefs, and I guess they thought the aliens could help them do this. So they start publishing advertisements for meetings where they recruited disciples that they referred to as crew, like crew members of a spaceship. Mm-hmm. They initially...
crew members of a spaceship.
I read this and I laughed so hard. I'm like, this is the fastest way to turn away people. They initially called their organization the Anonymous Sexaholics... Oh my God. The Anonymous Sexaholics Celibate Church.
What does that even
mean? It means they're super anti-sex. That if you're a sexaholic and you want to be celibate, come join our anonymous group. They're basically Alcoholics Anonymous.
Oh my gosh.
For sexy time
that
people.
That will not bring anybody.
Right?
No
you
one
are not helping your cause. Although there are a lot of crazy religious people who are super anti-sex, like you talked about.
Yes, that's very true.
But yeah, they quickly changed the name to the Human Individual Metamorphosis. This group changes names a lot.
Oh my.
So it's at these meetings that they claimed they were representatives of beings from another planet called the Next Level, which they essentially described as their version of heaven. Mm-hmm. And they were recruiting volunteers for an experiment where subjects would be brought to a higher evolutionary level. So strangely, they didn't actually like speaking with people in person at these meetings. They would prefer to get their contact information and call them after the fact. I don't know why they didn't like talking to people.
They probably got socially awkward and didn't want to interact with people.
Probably because what they were saying was fucking crazy.
Of course it was.
Even stranger, it was they started to actually get converts after traveling around to different events and speaking at a few colleges.
Seriously?
So they started getting college student converts, most of whom were young and either already interested in occultism or were already kind of living outside of mainstream society. So part of the counterculture sort of thing, which I can sort of see, stick it to the man, join a cult.
Right.
Sort of. But so they convinced the converts to leave their families and basically come travel together in this little pack. So Marshall and Bonnie, after they finally started recruiting people, they started teaching their followers that planet Earth would be recycled. So this is in quotes, wiped clean, renewed, refurbished, and rejuvenated. Just like a piece of furniture.
Oh, what does that even mean? They're just going to wipe us all out and then a new race is going to be born?
Basically.
And they are going to be like an Adam and Eve for this new generation?
I kind of view it as the story of Noah and the Ark, rain basically wiping the earth clean and giving the chosen few a chance to start over, essentially, is what I imagine it to be. And they believed this would happen sometime before the year 2027. So, guys, we still have time.
Shit.
Could still happen.
It could.
Get ready.
Let's make the second Heaven's Gate.
Yes. They still have a website.
Oh, perfect.
Yep.
Yes.
So they believed that this was their only chance for their consciousnesses to...
Consciousnesses,
plural, consciousness.
Snisness.
I hate that word. to survive, and they believed the only way for them to survive was to leave their human bodies at an appointed time.
Of course.
Their followers were taught that they would be transported along with their bodies aboard a large spacecraft that would come to Earth and take them all to the next level, aka heaven. They also were against suicide in general, but they defined this to mean specifically turning against the next level when it was being offered to you. So if you died at the appointed time by committing suicide and you were presented the opportunity to go to the next level and you declined, basically like you get let into heaven and choose to go to hell, then that's considered suicide and then that's bad. They're a little bit
freaking Lord.
They're doing a little bit of picking and choosing here.
I can't even deal with this. Like, most cults I can get behind because they have
they maybe start
message.
in a good place.
Yeah. They're just starting off fucking crazy. Like you're
gets
just spewing fucking bullshit.
Do you want to hear some more bullshit?
Yeah.
Okay, so Marshall and Bonnie also taught their followers that evil space aliens called Luciferians, like after Lucifer, falsely represented themselves to Earthlings as God and conspired to keep humans from developing, and they used holograms to fake miracles.
Oh my god! When you said
Luciferians.
Luciferians, I think of Lucifer in fairy form.
Oh my god!
Just let Lucifer fly around Fairies.
Oh my god. That is such a great mental image.
Oh my gosh.
Have you seen the show Lucifer? It's really
No.
good. It's good. So basically they believed that the God that was preached of like on Earth was actually evil aliens in disguise that were conspiring to stop humanity from achieving the next level.
I can't.
I know.
I can't.
And
people
my favorite
them.
is they used holograms to fake miracles.
Like, what?
So the members believed that all existing religions on Earth had been corrupted by the Luciferians, who have spacecrafts, the ability to travel through space-time, telepathy, and increased longevity. So all those little Lucifer fairies are...
They're just flying around
corrupting humanity.
God.
Okay.
Oh.
All right, we'll take a little break for like half a second from the insanity. Sort of.
We get kind of normal?
Sort of. It never really gets normal, but it gets somewhat more normal cult-like.
Okay.
So, 1975, Marshall and Bonnie had taken on new names for themselves. So, Marshall was Bo and Bonnie was Peep, like Lil Bo Peep.
Oh.
And I'm assuming they did this because they had gathered followers who they referred to as their flock, and they saw themselves as shepherds, and like Lil Bo Peep is a shepherd. And they had about 70 followers at this point. So
that's a lot of people.
I know. I mean, it's a lot less than freaking People's Temple. It's a lot of people who bought into this.
For this kind of cult, though, to believe that's a lot of people.
It is a lot of people. I feel sad for those people. So Marshall believed that a complete separation from earthly belongings and desires was necessary to ascend to the next level. So this kind of goes more in line with like normal cult ideologies where you basically have to give up everything. So followers were required to renounce friends, family, media, drugs, alcohol, jewelry, facial hair, oddly enough, and sexuality.
Of course they were.
Members were also given new names, and so these are super goofy. So all of them end in O-D-Y, like Odie, and they all started with 3 consonants in the first syllable, and they all were 3 syllables long. So
oh my.
Here's an example. Rickody, which is R-K-K-O-D-Y. Jimmody, which is J-M-M-O-D-Y. And Livdody, which is L-V-V-O-D-Y.
I enjoy that one.
Livdy.
That's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, so he wanted them to do this because he believed it helped like symbolize that his followers were like his spiritual children by renouncing their previous names and being given their like spirit alien names.
Could you maybe make it so it's easily pronounced?
Look at that bullshit. They're fucking impossible to pronounce.
Ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. So they got their spiritual names. So it was at this point they adopted they became essentially like nomads. They were just kind of traveling around from campground to campground in this like little weird alien hippie group. And in April of 1975, they actually stopped holding public meetings, and mostly like Bonnie and Marshall essentially cut off contact with their followers as well. And most people speculate that it's because Marshall and Bonnie were afraid that they were going to be assassinated because they believed that their deaths would be similar to the two witnesses in the Book of Revelations, and they die, and so they were worried that they were going to be killed. And they were also getting a lot of negative press.
Well, duh, because you're friggin' weird.
So they essentially, like, sold everything they owned and decided to, like, go underground to, A, hide from assassins, and B, get out of the public eye. So
perfect.
Yep.
Just have an underground bunker.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
So, unfortunately, this alienated some of their cult members, and membership dropped to about 40 people. So, people were like,
yeah, we're just gonna leave now.
So, things escalate a little bit. In 1976, Marshall and Bonnie changed their names again to Doe and T, and they split the remaining followers into small groups, which they called star clusters.
Oh my gosh.
I want to be in a star cluster. It's so cool.
We can, in our cult, we can put people in different star clusters, and each star cluster is a drink.
I was going to say we could have a signature cocktail called the Star Cluster.
Oh, there we go.
And we can sell little, like, puppy chow cluster snacks to go with them.
Oh, delicious.
Yeah.
That sounds so good.
That was my first thought. It was like, it should be some sort of snacky dessert thing, like a star cluster.
Yes. Let's do it.
Perfect.
Sounds great.
So they start imposing strict regulations on their followers to help ensure complete and total obedience. For example, members were not allowed to make any friends with one another, even like within the cult. They basically,
seriously?
Yes, they had to like stay separated.
Good Lord.
And they were only allowed to seek advice from Marshall. He was to be seen as the one source of truth in all things. So basically, before they did anything, they were encouraging their members to be like, what would your leaders do? What would Bonnie and Marshall do? Sorry, Doe and T. And they basically had
Jesus
to
do?
No, not Jesus, because Marshall is Jesus reincarnated.
Marshall is Jesus
by the aliens.
Sorry.
Yes. So Marshall also created meaningless and arbitrary rituals that he essentially just like made up to make them perform to instill them with a sense of discipline. So they had no meaning whatsoever. He just essentially was like, "Hey, do this thing because I want you to."
Okay.
And then they did. And despite this, apparently his followers saw him as fatherly and loving rather than tyrannical, likely because he basically always told them if they wanted to, they could choose to disobey, which gave them like the illusion that they were in control of the situation, when in reality,
they're not at all.
They were essentially brainwashed.
Yep.
So, in the late 70s, the group received a large amount of money that no one really knows exactly where it came from. Some thought it could have been the inheritance of a member or a donation from a wealthy follower, but they're not really sure. So Marshall and Bonnie use it to rent houses for themselves, and they're roughly 40 followers, first in Denver and then in Dallas, so they go back to Texas eventually. While living in these houses, Marshall and Bonnie developed a boot camp style of lifestyle for their members where every single minute of the day was planned.
That sounds terrible.
Yes, like literally every single moment of your day was dictated by them and their schedule.
Oh, gross.
And they claimed that this was to help prepare followers for the next level. Get ready for ascension.
Perfect.
Get ready.
Oh, gosh.
And during this whole time, they basically like weren't allowed to contact the outside world at all. But after a couple years of living in these houses, Marshall and Bonnie start allowing followers to call their families, and in 1983, they were even allowed to visit their families for Mother's Day.
Oh,
so sweet.
Just Mother's Day, not Father's Day.
Nope. Sorry,
okay.
dads.
No.
And they were also instructed to tell their families when they went to visit that they were studying computers at a monastery.
What? That doesn't even make any sense.
No, it makes no fucking sense at all. I have no idea where that came from.
How about you say studying computers at, like,
a school.
A school, not a monastery.
Yeah, but these people are lunatics, so
I suppose.
I have no idea.
Good Lord.
So, yes. Then things go south in 1985. So Bonnie dies from cancer.
Oh no, Bonnie!
Yep. Which she apparently had for 2 years, and she had like an eye removal surgery back in 1983 because she had cancer in her eye, and the doctors told her it was going to spread, and she told them that they were ignorant and stupid because she was not meant to die because her and Marshall were going to ascend to the next level together.
Okay, well, that's your own fucking fault then.
Yeah,
woman.
So she apparently doesn't get treatment and she dies.
Good, well, that's what you get.
So this kind of throws a wrench in their whole, like, body goes aboard the celestial spacecraft theory because she died and obviously her body was still there. So Marshall had to quickly be like, shit.
What do I do?
So he quickly pivots and says that just your consciousness can go to the next level and actually your physical body can stay behind if you want it to.
Good Lord.
And this apparently is a good enough cover for everyone that they buy it.
Seriously?
So he told his followers that Bonnie had, quote, traveled to the next level because she had too much energy to remain on Earth.
Okay.
She was too amazing. She just had to ascend.
She was too cool.
And he also said that Bonnie left him behind on purpose because he still had more to learn. So she was at this higher evolutionary level and he was not ready yet.
Mm-hmm.
He then decided to spiritually marry all of his followers to ensure unity.
God.
Yep.
Fucking crazy.
Not like actually, but like spiritual
but that's
marriages.
Still weird to say, I am going to marry you.
Yeah, I mean, he's like, oh shit, this looks really bad. I need to quickly do something crazy to like make them all stay. So if you're all married to each other, then you'll be less likely to leave. So
I suppose.
Apparently people buy this bullshit, which is
they do.
Beyond me. So after Bonnie died, Marshall became even more paranoid and was afraid that A, someone was going to assassinate him, or B, that his followers were conspiring against him. Mm-hmm. And so he started turning away even like new people who wanted to join because he was convinced it was like people trying to infiltrate their group and take over. So over the following years, the group became obscure because obviously he wasn't like recruiting any new members. And at one point, the number of followers dropped to as low as 26 in the early 90s. So what does he do? In May of 1993, he renames the group the Total Overcomers Anonymous and spends $30,000 on a full-page ad in USA Today that warned of an apocalypse that would destroy Earth.
Sweet baby Jesus.
Oh, yes. So he then realizes that the internet is a thing because it's the early 90s and the internet's invented. So he's like, perfect, I'm going to go spread my word everywhere I can. But everyone literally like ridiculed him online.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like,
absolutely.
They're like, you're crazy. And he was so dejected that this was around the time when he started considering the possibility of suicide as a way to reach the next level, which he initially was against, but started to be like,
well, this isn't going the way I want.
This isn't going
maybe let's
well.
just do it this way.
Yeah, he was like, I guess this could maybe work because everyone else is rejecting me. Mm-hmm. So he basically changed it to, he explained it by saying that if we consider that everything human had to be forsaken, your physical body can be included in that. So you have to like give up your body to reach the next level. And this is when he finally named the group Heaven's Gate.
Ah.
Yes. So in 1995, the group moved to New Mexico and purchased a 40-acre plot of land where they started building this like large compound to basically live kind of like the People's Temple area. Uh-huh. And they called it the Earth Ship. But Marshall at this point was like getting older and his health was failing. He was going downhill pretty quickly and it ended up being too much work and it was too difficult. So they essentially scrapped the plan and they end up moving to a mansion in Rancho Santa Fe, California. Oh. We've come full circle.
Here it is.
So, the same year, so they moved there in 1996, and that same year, the group records 2 video messages that they post on the internet talking about the Earth being recycled and offering people a last chance to evacuate Earth, which I found the video of Marshall, like, talking about this, and it is crazy. It is so bizarre. And it's like 90 minutes long or something ridiculous. I didn't watch the whole thing. I just watched the first couple minutes, but it's just like him just rambling about this crazy plan that about Earth is going to be recycled and this is your last chance. And it is so weird.
Psycho.
So you can find it. It's on YouTube.
Perfect.
It has like 20 million views.
Post it.
Yep. Yeah, we totally can post the link on the Facebook page. So it was around the same time that they learned about a comet named Hale-Bopp. So that's Hale Bopp. Hale-Bopp. Which is just the most ridiculous name for a comet in my whole life. So they learned that this comet is approaching Earth, and Marshall's like, perfect, that's super convenient. So he's like, this is a sign. He believed that Bonnie and her spirit were aboard a spacecraft that was trailing the comet.
Oh,
and that she was coming back to get them. And told the members of Heaven's Gate that the spacecraft would ultimately transport them all to the highest level of heaven. So
perfect.
He's like, Bonnie's in a spaceship behind the comet. It's coming this way. We got to get on board.
It's time to go, guys.
Yep.
She's coming for us.
We gotta get out of here.
Let's get on this spaceship.
So he ultimately decides to go with the route of suicide and decided that was the best way to board the vessel and has his followers start recording farewell videos, which is really heartbreaking.
That's terrible.
Yeah, but they're all on board with it. They're all like, yeah, we're getting on this comet. Our spirit's going to the next level. Like,
oh my gosh.
So experts speculate that he ultimately chose suicide because he had told his followers multiple times that their group would ascend during his lifetime, and Bonnie was already dead, and he was on his way out the door, essentially. He was older and not doing very well, so he's like, shit, if I die and this doesn't happen, then I was wrong the whole time and I cannot let that happen.
Right.
So like, hey guys, we got to do this suicide thing now, because that was basically like his only option left.
Yeah.
And he also couldn't appoint like a spiritual successor to like take over for him because he said it would happen during his lifetime. So then the suicides start on March 22nd of 1997, where most members took barbiturates and alcohol and placed bags over their heads.
Oh, God.
Yes. The crime scene photos are haunting. They are
I'm
so
sure.
chilling. If you want, I'll show you some of them.
Sounds terrible.
Yeah, and what's also very creepy is they all wore the same pair of Nike sneakers, and they all had matching uniforms that read Heaven's Gate Away Team. Like, Team Alpha, like, here we go, Heaven's Gate Away Team.
Gosh.
So they're all wearing the same thing. And
that makes me so upset.
well, and it's really upsetting, too, because the deaths occurred over 3 days. So 15 people die on the first day, and
Seriously?
the surviving members start, like, arranging their bodies around in this, like, tableau of, like, laying them down nicely on beds and stuff. And then 15 more die on the second day, and then the last 9 die on the third day, with Marshall being one of the last 4 to die. So he basically had 3 assistants left alive that helped him commit suicide, and then they committed suicide themselves.
Oh my gosh.
It's very creepy.
Did they all take the stuff at the same time, or were they, like, planned, like, this is your day, this is your day?
I'm not sure, because that would be really awful if they all took it at the same time, and it just took some of them a long time to die. I would assume Marshall probably waited to, like, make sure it all went well or whatever. Went well.
Make sure that people actually killed themselves?
Yeah, so I'm not totally sure. But by the time the 39 men and women were dead, this was actually the second largest group suicide involving U.S. citizens. So Jonestown was the first.
Yeah.
And this was the largest one since then.
Oh, it's so terrible.
It's really awful.
Fuck.
So Heaven's Gate basically died that day, but there's still a small following today that actually, apparently the website, like, will respond to you if you email them asking for information. You can, like, send them a request for more information. They have a bunch of books listed about, like, Heaven's Gate, and they called Marshall and Bonnie, like, the UFO-2, and they, like, have books written about them. And
seriously?
Someone is still, like, maintaining the website, I guess. So
that's so crazy.
And it's really tacky, like...
Oh, no. Oh, that's terrible.
Hale-Bopp brings closure to... Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And as was promised, the keys to Heaven's Gate are here again in T and Do, the UFO-2. It's so weird and creepy and
I don't like
very
that.
colorful. And yeah, so they still have a website. I guess someone monitors it today. And the cult has actually been referenced a number of times in popular culture and the media as well. So they have small mentions in the movies Dude, Where's My Car?, Up in the Air, and Contact. And they've also been featured in an episode of Family Guy.
Oh, good.
Yeah, there's a couple of other small, like, TV show references to it, too.
Yeah.
And then there's actually a lot of songs that reference either Heaven's Gate or one of my favorite bands of all time, Porcupine Tree, actually has a song that I think it borrows from the title of his video. Yeah, Last Chance to Evacuate Planet Earth.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's the name of the song.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, so they've been referenced a number of times.
Yeah.
But...
Oh my gosh, they
is
are fucking nuts.
The haunting, horrible story of Marshall and Bonnie Applewhite. Or no, they weren't married. I'm sorry. Marshall Applewhite and Bonnie Nettles of Heaven's Gate.
They're so freaking... Why? Just...
Yep. It's,
I feel like I need time to, like, digest this.
It took me several days to finish compiling my notes on this, because, like, there's a lot to unpack there.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's...
So the movie that I saw was fairly similar. So what happened was, obviously it's like your standard cult, and the leader told everyone that if you're reincarnated, then you're essentially going to be able to go on to do divine things, whatever. Mm-hmm. So he's in this front porch, everybody is sitting in the lawn, and he takes the sugar cube that has some sort of drug or something in it that he takes, and essentially is declared dead. Mm-hmm. And then they inject him with a certain formula that's supposed to, like, reverse whatever happened. And then he wakes up and is like, oh, I'm reincarnated, blah, blah, blah. If you take this, handy. Then you will be too. And so they had just a tray of these sugar cubes that they handed out to everybody in the lawn. And then they took them. And after they took them, they had, like, assistants who were going to go around and use these needles on them. The injections. And the people in the audience didn't know that he was injected to make him come back to life. Mm-hmm. And so they all take the sugar cubes, and then when they're about to inject them, the cops come and stop what's going on, so everybody dies.
Because I'm sure the cops think that the injection is killing people.
Yes.
Oh, I feel like we're talking about the same movie. Oh my god, now I have to look it up. Is it The Town or something? The Town. The Sacrament. That's what it was.
Yeah!
Yeah, we've seen that movie too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's so freaking weird.
Yeah, I was like, what you're describing sounds very familiar. So it's The Sacrament from 2013. I enjoyed it. I wouldn't necessarily call it like a horror movie.
No.
It was like a thriller kind of...
Yeah, it was very interesting.
Like drama thriller-y type thing. But yeah. So yeah, that's the close. We bring to a close our cult 2-part special.
2-part special. It was so fun.
I hope you guys had a good time learning about death and manipulated people.
And weird people.
Yeah. I just liked this one because it was like all this like UFO crap that we find fascinating.
Ties in perfect.
I thought so. It's quite fun.
Oh. So guys, don't join a cult.
Please don't join Heaven's Gate.
Please don't.
Please don't. Maybe send them an email just to like laugh at the response.
Yeah.
But please don't join them.
Please just don't do it.
It's not real.
No.
Yeah.
They're just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But, send us in your stories. We want to hear from you.
Let us know if you want a new spiritual name. Yeah. And we will rename you.
Give it to you. Yep. We'll come up with something super cool.
With lots of consonants and very hard to pronounce.
Yes. So send it in to nightmarenation19@gmail.com, please.
Please check us out on social media. Our Facebook is nightmare_nation19.
Yeah.
Instagram is nightmare.nation19.
Yeah, it is.
Follow us.
Subscribe.
Yep.
Comment. Leave us a review.
Join our mixology cult that is soon to be stood up here because I think it sounds like a blast.
It's going to be awesome. We're going to have some pretty delicious cocktails.
Mm-hmm. Get ready for some star clusters.
Woo! Star clusters!
Yeah.
We can just get those star cakes. From Little Debbie's.
Those are my favorite
Star
thing.
Crunch.
That literally when I was reading
so good.
Literally when I was reading about star clusters, I was like, oh my god, it reminds me of those crunch patties from Little Debbie.
Yeah, they're
with like the caramel and then the chocolate. Oh my god,
it's like a
so good.
Better $100,000 bar.
And we can also have like those cosmic brownies.
Oh yeah,
with the little like rainbow chocolate chip things.
Too.
Oh, they're so good.
Oh my gosh, you guys, we're just gonna have a blast in this cult. It's gonna be so fun.
Best cult ever. And no one will die, I promise.
No, we're just gonna have fun.
Yes.
Meet new friends.
Get fat, eating snacks and drinking alcohol.
It's perfect.
Can't wait.
It's exactly what I wanted.
Yes. So guys, let us know what you think. Send in your suggestions.
Do it.
Of places you'd like to hear us cover.
Yeah.
Because we want to know what you want to know about.
Want to know.
Yep.
So you keep listening to us ramble.
Yes. Please do.
Because it's your favorite.
We have fun doing it. So we hope you have fun listening.
Yeah.
In the meantime, please don't join a cult.
Don't use a Ouija board.
Don't have seances.
Don't summon UFOs.
No, definitely don't do that.
Don't do that.
I don't know how you summon a UFO.
I don't either.
But however you do it, don't.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
Yeah.
Just don't do it.
Yeah. So.
Until next time.
Until next time, friends.
Bye.
Bye.